living a movie, not living by rules. It's just a movie, don't lose your cool.
Alright, welcome to MovieTrailerReviews.net. We're doing our audio review. This is the first audio review we've done in a long time. Definitely the first one in 2012. And I can't remember the last time we did an audio review. I mean, that shit might have been like me and Kevin on Thor or some shit. It was a long... Captain America, yeah, it was a long time ago. I mean, we've done our spoiled reviews, and you know what? I'm gonna switch it up this time. You know, we're gonna be doing the auto review for Red Tails, and normally when we do these auto reviews, because we're not spoiled reviews, we don't spoil them. But let's be honest, okay? This is the Tuskegee Airmen movie. There's not really a lot to spoil in this one, so if a spoiler slips out here and there, you know, I don't think it'll ruin the movie. I don't think there's a way to ruin this movie any further than what they already did. So,
I got a question. Can we do this? How about we just run through each person real quick, and say what was good and what was bad, and then we just say spoilers and just go from there.
We can try that. All right. Well, let's do. Okay, fine. Let's start with that. So this we're doing the review for Red Tails. Everybody has heard about this movie now. George Lucas fronted the money for this movie. He's been trying to get it done for 20 years. He got. Basically, it's a black movie. You know, we've been talking. It was a big talk for the last 2 weeks about black movie. I got in arguments about this. You know, you have basically an all black cast. You have a black director, Anthony Hemingway, I believe. You have 2 black screenwriters. You have Aaron Magruder and John Ridley.
Aaron Magruder.
And who's the producer? We also have a black executive producer on this film as well. I cannot remember his name though.
I don't remember who the black executive producer was.
Lucas.
No. George Lucas has got producer credits, but he's not the executive producer. We actually have this black executive producer on this film.
But it's Anthony Hemingway.
I think he was trying to get his black card.
Let me see.
Hold on, did we mention Anthony Hemingway?
Yeah, Anthony Hemingway directed it. I'm trying to see who it's produced by George Lucas, but it's also got Rick McCallum and Charles Floyd Johnson. And I can't remember who exactly the executive producer is, but he's also he was a black guy.
Now, does McCallum go all the way back to the Star Wars flicks also, or something else that Lucas did? Because Rick McCallum's name is very familiar.
Let me see. Yeah, he has a lot of collaborations with George Lucas. Let me see.
Okay, that might be another reason why.
Yeah, he might be. Let's see. Yes, best known for Young Indiana Jones Chronicles as well as the Star Wars trilogy, special edition, and prequel trilogy. So yes, he did. Yeah, there we go. So,
well, there's some questioning stuff going on here because, like, Anthony Hemingway, this is his first film. His first directed film. He's been like second director, and
I noticed that too.
The Wire, which would explain why there were so many people from The Wire in this film. Bugs,
The Wire
Mike, right?
So let me give some of the actors in this movie: Cuba Gooding Jr., Terrence Howard,
Kristen Wiig.
Yeah. So. First things first, you know, everybody knows this is a story about the Tuskegee Airmen. To give some background, some people were worried about this. This movie basically takes place when the airmen are already in Italy. So I know there's a lot. I've seen some. You said what?
1944.
Yeah, 1944. Some people were, I saw somebody once before complaining about the screen. They were like, well, you know, they didn't talk about how the program got started in the United States. They skipped all that, okay? They started in 1944, you know, with them already, you know, flying planes, already been approved to fly planes, and the program already starting, okay? Right. So that's out of the way.
We do the origin story, thank you, God.
Yeah.
Superhero movies, pay attention.
Yeah, so they didn't have to go through the whole origin story start. So, all right, let's go around the table. Let's see. I didn't even introduce who we have here. We're so amped up by this movie. We didn't go around. We have H2O Kev, you know, my co-host on Insanity Check. We have Phenom Black from Where's My 40 Acres. And Harry, what are you working on? What do you have, Harry?
The Next Issue podcast.
Okay, go ahead and say it again, just so.
This is Harry, also known as H, with the Next Issue podcast. Red 5, standing by.
And, of course, I'm Kriss from the InsanityReport.com and the Insanity Check podcast. So, all right, let's go around the table. And everybody, we'll first do what everybody thought worked for this movie because I feel like that's going to be a short list. And, Kev, I'll start with you.
Really the only thing that really worked for me with the movie, you know, the action scenes were really pretty good. You know, you don't really get to see too many World War II movies that just detail with like the Air Corps and everything. I mean, outside of I think what they had Pearl Harbor, like, you know, it was a decent action flick when they had the action scenes going for it. So yeah, it was a decent action. It was decent action wise.
All right, Brandon.
Let me go last. Let me go last.
All right, Harry.
Motherfucker already amped up.
Pretty much what Kevin said, and actually I wasn't expecting so many action scenes to be put in it, and actually, they put some detail into it. They put a lot more work into getting the action scenes to really work than what I was expecting, especially the strafing run over the air base that popped up. I was expecting like maybe one or two scenes, and of course the climactic battle and all that stuff, but they actually had about a total of 4. So it's not like it was too much downtime. Also, unbelievingly for me, I guess Terrence Howard and Cuba Gooding made it work.
No, yeah, they were good.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree on half of that.
Yeah,
Terrence Howard and Cuba Gooding.
Yeah, so you basically stole what I was going to say because I'm sitting there going, okay, I don't want to say action because I have my issues with the action too, but I can list that. I was shocked by how many action scenes they put in there, and what they did with that. And Cuban Gooding Jr. and Terrence Howard, I thought were, I have my issues with them, but in the grand scheme of things, they were actually pretty good in this movie compared to everything else. And when you look at it relatively, they were actually pretty good. And honestly, I'm struggling to find anything else. I've really got nothing. Brandon, you got anything?
Okay. Let's see. Surprisingly, and you won't believe this when you first see it opening up, you're gonna be like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Neo worked for me in this film.
Really?
Neo worked for me because as country Bama as they tried to make that nigga with the tobacco in the side of his jaw talking and a fucking banjo guitar.
Oh Lord,
he actually had some funny scenes, and he was kind of like that balance between what was it Easy and Lightning. He was kind of that balance when they were flying. Plus, his scenes with Lightning weren't that bad. They were okay. I'll give him that. He had some funny stuff. Whenever you could find an Aaron Magruder joke, it was good. But that's like finding Waldo in a book that's like playing Where's Waldo with a Charles Dickens book. So, shit.
Tell them how you really
The
feel.
1956 explosions worked.
Oh.
Okay. The explosion and then everybody jumps out the fire on fire. Yeah, that worked for me. That shit came straight out of Star Trek, dog.
But wait, but the thing that
scene where something blew up, I felt like I was watching. Star Trek, Star Wars.
But you know what killed me with that though? It's like you would see the bullets hit the thing, and you're like, it's not gonna blow up. It's not gonna blow up. It fucking blew up, really? You're like, how did that blow up? There's no fuel.
There was one time where they blew up 4 planes,
right?
And like it really looked like somebody planted C4 on them bitches and was hitting a remote clicker. I was like, okay, but the explosions worked.
You talking on fucking airbase and shit. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
The jets worked. When the jets came in, I believed. I was believing in them jets. The motherfuckers was bad.
I thought that was
loud as shit too.
Yeah.
They were loud. It was something like everybody else said, and this isn't surprising because I like Terrence Howard. I've always liked Terrence Howard. I think the comparisons that people do between him and Don Cheadle because of the Iron Man stuff are really fucked up. They're two good actors. But Terrence Howard really sold his role in this film. Like, he was believable.
Yeah.
He was so fucking believable. Cuba Gooding Jr., on the other hand, I'm sorry. That fucking pipe, that peace pipe.
Yo,
yeah.
Cuba Gooding Jr. kind of pissed me off in this shit.
Because
I was just like, man.
He was going too hard with the pipe. He was like, there's one time towards the end of when they were doing the last mission, I think the one to Germany, and I know I couldn't have been the only one that saw it. When he was trying to put the pipe in his mouth, and he almost like he missed.
And he missed.
And he almost missed it. And it's like they didn't even bother trying to cut that shit. They just let it go.
You know, it's like ever since he won that Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, he just forgot what to do. Like, he don't know how to act. He's just Cuba.
Walter White.
He always knew how to act?
Yeah, Walter White's racism really worked for me. Like, I believe Walter White was racist. You don't watch Breaking Bad, you don't know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
Walter White's racism.
Bryan Cranston. Yeah.
And Elijah Kelly, who played Joker, his tears worked. That scene towards the end where I felt them tears, man. He was, easy. Easy, you better speak to me, man. Like, I was there. Like, hey, that's what worked for me.
Why did Nate Parker remind me so much? I don't know what it was. He reminded me so much of Damon Wayans. I don't know what it was. I can't put my finger on it. I was expecting,
White.
huh?
You remind me of Brown White.
Generic Negro number one. You know?
Really? We're gonna bring that fool back up in this joint.
I'm fucking around. No, he really did though.
All right, let's go. Let's go because we're
Oh,
stalling.
and the paint they used for the red tails were that was pretty ass red.
As you can already tell, our disdain for this movie.
we're stalling. So let's go ahead.
Hold on, Bugs, man. We can't shit on Bugs from The Wire. He did good.
Yes.
I like Bugs.
Oh, you mean Miles?
What's his? Oh, and
Miles from Moesha, that dude.
the dude who was the mechanic.
Oh yeah, what is his name?
Bugs. He's from
I
The
don't know.
Wild.
Yeah,
I know
you're
he's like
talking
a
about.
random
From The Wire.
thug in like the new Shaft movie and shit. That's all I remember that dude from.
Yeah. Not just that. I don't know. Maybe this dude.
Andre Royo is his
not for
name.
y'all.
Yeah.
Winky, the dude who Leslie Odom Jr. played a character named Winky.
Yeah.
And he was the one that brought up the shit in the very beginning, talking to Cuba Gooding Jr. when he brought up the newspaper headline.
Yeah.
He was solid.
Well, you know that's what you know. Okay, let's just cut right to the chase. This is what the worst thing about this fucking movie: the acting. It was terrible,
dialogue.
and the dialogue. And what kills me about it is, like you said, Leslie Odom Jr. did a good job at the beginning of that movie when we were talking. I was like, okay, cool. He's gonna have a big role in the movie because obviously he can act.
Leslie.
He just fucking appeared.
Leslie.
After that one exchange he had with Cuba Gooding Jr. at the beginning of the movie, he disappeared. I never saw him again.
Film, Leslie
Cuba didn't want no one upstage now.
All right, let's go through.
He was in one of those plane crashes we ain't see.
Right.
Method Man had more speaking roles than Leslie Odom Jr. did.
We gonna let them fly the plane today, boss? Fucking asshole.
What you get? Somebody throw a train at you, boy?
Like, okay.
You know, that was the thing that killed me within the first 5 minutes of the movie when they opened their mouth. I was like, oh no, please tell me we're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
Now,
Before we get into this,
let me say this. I have watched more than my fair share of World War II flicks. Saving Private Ryan, Miracle at Santa Ana, Band of Brothers, you name it, more than likely I've seen it. I understand that, these were the times that, they lived and not everybody was educated, not everybody could speak great. I understand that. But there's a fine line between trying to depict some realism versus just straight
Shucking
out
and jiving.
coonery.
Straight
Thank
cooning.
you.
Shucking and
Straight
jiving. Like
Shuffling.
like David, I can't say your last name, Oluwo, who also played in Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Right.
He was the black dude that got kicked out in the helicopter.
Oh yeah, yo. Now I'm seeing. Oh
Yes.
shit.
I recognize that from Jump. If you pay attention, when he first gets into it with Easy, and they land that plane back, and Easy's like, man, you can't be doing that. He actually shucks and jives. Like, getting out the plane, like, it's not fake. He gets out shucking and jiving.
Just
He was
needed him to shuffle
tapping
a little
on the
bit more.
wing of the plane, getting off of it. He was shucking and jiving, dog.
I think it's fair to say that the biggest problem we have with this movie, all of us, is the acting in this movie. I mean, I know there's other things that we're having, but right now we're basically talking about the acting, and I think it's fair to say we all were shocked by how terrible the acting in this film was.
Very much.
That-
I mean, my whole thing is that, like, the entire time watching the movie, I kept thinking back to, the 1990s when the HBO movie came out, and I'm just like, the acting was just so much better. I mean, it seemed much more believable.
Maybe it's good I don't remember that one then.
But see, this begs the question: if this is what we can get or expect as black movies, why are we retreading this same subject?
Thank you.
That was the first that was like the first thing that came to my mind when Kevin reminded me about Red Tails. The first thing that came to my mind: why are we doing this again? Why are we treading over this subject again?
Well, we're not doing it again because the HBO film was an HBO film,
Right.
and even though it had Cuba Gooding Jr., who acted 100 times better in
Well,
it,
and Lawrence Fishburne. And they had
and really good actors, it never hit the
really
big
good
screen,
cast.
but it did make its mark on HBO. The problem I have with this film, and I just got off the phone with my girl because I had to break this down to somebody while driving in the car. I just had to get it out. The problem I have with this film is we spend so much time shitting on Tyler Perry and Steve Harvey and what's the Reverend T.D. Jakes, and for making these coonery films, right, that are supposed to have this message, and then we get this film with a $58 million budget from
That could have been
fucking-
directed by Tyler Perry.
Right, thank you.
Right.
That is exactly what I said to her. I said, if you gave Tyler Perry a historical figure film and said, go, This walks the thin red line between of something that he would do.
You know what?
This walks the line of a Tyler Perry historical film.
Here's the thing. Here's how I'm gonna tell you. I'll be perfectly honest. When I heard about this film, I was gonna go see it. I was always gonna go see it. Yeah. But I would always have myself set for a matinee, a solid, probably low matinee. That, hey, listen. First of all, it's a January movie, and we all know that if you're coming out in January, February, you know your movie is not that good.
Right, past Christmas, but right before the summer.
Yeah, know.
Taker's came out. I mean, not Taker's. Taken came out early.
Well, I mean, yeah. Those kind of
every now and then you're gonna get a decent one.
Those kind of movies.
Right, you're gonna get it. But let's be honest. I like Taken. I enjoyed it. But at the end of the year, was I really still thinking about Taken that year? No, I wasn't.
I was when I saw Unknown. I was like,
but you get what I'm saying. So it's like. I had two things that told me before this movie started today that was like, damn, we might have a problem. First one was earlier today, somebody sent me a link that said Tyler Perry was talking about how good Red Tails was and that we need to go out and see it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, you ain't telling me that.
My bad movie Spider Sense went off, and I was like, that's not good. Second one was when we were sitting down there. This had nothing to do with the movie, but again, it goes to what we done because the same thing happened to us for the Pirates of the Caribbean movie when they came up with the stupid pirates at the beginning of the movie. The people that were screening it, they had people dressed up as pirates, and they were trying to sword fight at the beginning, and we were just sitting there going, something's not right about this. Yeah. Same thing happened this time. So before the movie starts, black lady gets up and stands up and it's like, "Hi everybody, I'd like to welcome you to this movie." Like normally happens. I'm from the NAACP, and we're sitting there going,
what the fuck is the NAACP?
But we couldn't say anything during it. We had to wait till she shut the fuck up about the NAACP and how this was a historical black film and this had never been done before with an all-black cast and an action film.
And wait a minute, and guess
we needed
what?
to tell our friends to go see it. This film, we needed to pay to go see this again. Bitch, I ain't paying to go see this again.
And guess what? Right before Black History Month. Ta-da!
Right. And so she's saying that. I'm sitting there going, I know. I'm like, NAACP. Does he mean the NAACP? Why don't he just say NAACP? Yeah. Why is he saying NAACP? So it's like, I'm thinking to myself, okay, and she wouldn't shut up about how we need to go out and see it again and blah, 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 blah. It's a historic movie, but I'm like, something doesn't seem right. So right there, my bad movie Spider Sense is going off, and I'm like, this can't be good. And like you said,
I was confused. I was just like,
soon as
mine didn't go off. You know when mine went off? During the fucking credits. When I saw that low budget ass credit opening that I could have did on Windows Movie Maker. Right?
I kind of had that same thought too because it did look bad. It did.
I got one better. When the very last words were inspired by true events.
Oh yeah. Well, see,
we're about to get screwed in the ass with the sandpaper condom.
Well, no,
Ray had the same thing though. Ray had.
You know what? Inspired didn't bother me as much because
so did like Cadillac Records that had Inspired by True Events.
Well, see, here's my thing. Here's my thing, and people were complaining about this. See, when a movie says inspired by, that means to me, okay, we're not going for a history lesson here. So I'm going to take my intellectual side, I'm going to put it aside, I'm going to still try to watch the movie and enjoy it, and if there are explosions and the action is good, I'll still enjoy this movie. But as soon as, like, the movie opens up with, the white fighters abandoning the bombers and bombers going around, and then they go to the Tuskegee Airmen, and there's a force, like, it's Lightning, was it Lightning Joker, Easy?
Joker, Easy,
and I think Junior.
Ray Gunn,
who was played by Tristan Wilde. Yeah, Tristan Wilde. And so it cut to that. As soon as they start talking, I'm like, fuck.
See, it wasn't even that for me. Like, during the credits in the opening, you get to see like why we're gonna need these black fighter pilots later on in the film because the white fighter pilots don't stay with the bombers. They go and they chase the enemy and leave the bombers basically sitting there open season, like take a couple of them down. This is when I knew this movie was going to be bad. I didn't know what the fuck was going on in that opening scene. Like, I could not keep track of where this plane was going and where the bullets shooting up this bomber were coming from. And I couldn't tell the enemy from, I couldn't tell germs or jers or whatever
they're called. Jerry's.
I couldn't tell Jerry's from U.S.
Well, here's how it feels to be a
I feel
fighter
like the
pilot
same
in
plane
World
got
War
shot
II,
up 3
son.
times.
And here's the thing that I know you guys mentioned the action was was one of the good things, and while I did enjoy it, I couldn't have been the only one that's sitting there going. Sometimes just felt like a little underwhelmed with some of the action scenes.
Very underwhelmed.
Like it was very underwhelmed by some. And I understand again. The budget. I had to go. I came back and I looked at the budget for this movie. Budget was $58 million. Okay, so listen, Pearl Harbor when they came out, I think it was 2001 or something like that, had like $140 million budget. So obviously you're not going to get the level of quality you're going to get for these other movies.
Yeah, but
I
Pearl
get
Harbor
that.
did bomb too.
Well, Pearl Harbor, and again, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
I'm not even going on the quality of the movie. I'm just going off of the action scenes. So
Right.
I would let that go. But there were just little things that they were doing there. And was I also the only one that noticed that at the beginning of the film, you could tell they did reshoots because the words weren't syncing up with the mouths? Was it just me? Okay, so you could tell that. So they did that badly as well.
Subtitles here sometimes, subtitles there sometimes.
Right. Well, sometimes I get where
subtitles.
Sometimes I get where
I can understand the purpose of why they did some of it, especially when
the German
like,
fighters
met Sophia. But like, especially with the Germans, which is one of the parts you're probably talking about when they did the reshoot, when they did the Germans in the beginning, and the main villain. And why they always have one main villain? That guy
had to be that same dude coming back and back and back. And I was
right.
How you a bad actor in another language, though?
He had like some lines of dialogue, but there were no subtitles. Then all of a sudden they popped up, and then another time he was talking, there was none. But then the rest of the flick, all of a sudden he had dialogue. It's
again,
it's just a whole bunch of little inconsistencies.
How do you deliver lines badly with
German.
subtitles in another language? Like he would be like "schlocknen dir," and at the bottom he was basically saying, "Ha ha ha."
Right. That's my thing. It's like I didn't mind them having the one the one bad villain. I'm okay with it. I kind of figured they were going to do that in this kind of thing. You always have that guy, but he was bad at it. It's like remember when after the film, after he almost got shot down and he lands on the airfield and then lightning had gone past him after they shot up the airfield. He was like, colored, an African, and you're just like, really? That's what he said. That's what the subtitles said. Like the dialogue
it wasn't believable.
I think we mentioned this. You mentioned it, Brandon. You said one of the things you liked was you when you saw the Boondocks jokes. Well, I did find those funny. The problem I had was you could tell there were two different types of screenwriters on the film. You could tell that you could tell where John Ridley was trying to be serious, and then Aaron Magruder came in and was like, "I'm going to insert a joke here at the inappropriate time." You could tell when that shit happened because
How about
it was just
a joke that wasn't even funny? Like there were when you look at a film and it's going to have an all-black cast. Let's just be real. There's going to be comedy. And let's not even look at this film and say that they weren't going for comedy because they clearly were. With characters like Joker, Neo, Method Man as an engineer, they were going for fucking jokes. Even Tristan Wilde was trying to do jokes, and they weren't funny. They weren't fucking funny. With lightning dancing around, like I understand, you had Aaron Magruder, and y'all didn't have funny racist jokes. Like, seriously, you had like two in a 2-hour film, and they were clearly Aaron Magruder's jokes. When one of them came and when Neo was talking to the white dude, and he says, "Now hold on, let me ask y'all something." Now,
and Neo actually sounds like this in the movie.
An old joke.
Yeah.
Right.
And the part is that's an old chestnut of a joke. I was like, really?
When you're scared, you're yellow. When you're excited,
That shit
you're
was
red.
painful to listen to, man.
But we're colored, and I was like, that was funny. But
Your delivery was horrible.
well, it wasn't. I won't say the delivery was horrible. I'll say that after an hour and 40 minutes of unfunny shit, that shit was extra funny.
Like,
because there was nothing else that was funny.
I would actually appreciate if they had done almost like pulled a Black Dynamite, and when Aaron Magruder put a joke in, Huey would just pop out and be like, "Message," and then pop out the screen. Like, just go for broke if you're gonna do it that way, because it's like you could tell. Oh, and let's go on this. I think we all agree on this one too. The editing was terrible.
Oh my God!
Editing was terrible.
Why did they
pacing
edit
was
and put
terrible.
that shit back together? And I'm sending this out. Anthony Hemingway, if I ever run into you, dog, you got sick and you went to work on a Treme or something like that. You went to work on another series and let George Lucas do the end shooting for this film. You came back, watched the film, and approved it. You asshole. You knew when you saw this shit that it was not good. There's no way you worked on The Wire and you saw this and went, Yep,
Okay.
I would sit through 2 hours of this. You would not. Aaron Magruder, you would not sit through 2 hours of this. There's no way in hell, brother.
There was at one point.
Would sit through this.
At one point, one of the what was Niles' name? What's his real name?
Niles? Who's Niles?
Miles from Moesha. What the
Miles
fuck?
was
that big lip Negro.
Yeah. The dude that looks like if he fell in of this plane.
Deacon?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That was
Deacon.
his real name.
If he had fallen out into the ocean, he could have used his lips as a flotation device. Yeah. What's his
I
real
think
name?
his name was Deacon, but this
Yeah,
is
his name
okay,
was
this
Deacon
is
in the
my
movie.
problem.
What's his real name? I can't remember his real name.
I don't remember.
Marcus D. Paulk.
Marcus. So here's my problem. So when his character got shot up at one point,
Yeah.
like, it's a serious moment. Everybody knew that he. But right after that movie, there was a joke. They were like joking around and acting. It was like that was a horrible cut, and you could tell what happened was they had shot that scene before the crash scene, and so they just put it. They put that scene in there afterward. But I'm like, it doesn't fit there because it's a serious moment. This dude almost died.
That's exactly how I felt towards the end when. Right after you see what
God.
happens with lightning, and then the fucking ray gun dude comes out and it was like, "Hey guys,
I'm back, yo."
You know what? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. Check this out. The reality of this film is this, and I think this is going to be true for everybody on this call, and it's going to be true for people who go out and see this film. You're too intelligent for this film. You are so much more intelligent than this film that it won't work. I remember putting a line in something I wrote today where he was like, where Lucas was like, I hope black and white kids are able to walk away from this film and say, the fighter pilots were cool. This is the thing. As an adult with intelligence, you are too smart for this fucking film. You just are. And with that said, spoiler alert. If you want to cut this shit off, cut it off. Spoiler alert. Because I'm about to kill this fucking film. Just rip it apart. And
before you spoil it though, let me just say to piggyback on what you said about the kids. Somebody was like tweeted me, was like they wanted their kids to go see a positive movie. Listen, it's a positive movie. Take your kids. Your kids will love it. You want to know why? Because kids are stupid. Kids think kids. No. Here's the thing. Kids believe in Santa. You know, they believe in a guy in a red suit comes down the chimney every Christmas and gives them fucking presents. Kids are not smart enough to understand that this movie fucking sucks. So take your kids to the movie. They'll enjoy it. They'll see planes blowing up. There's enough explosions and things blowing up that kids will be too distracted to be like, oh, I don't like this film. I really feel like most kids would. Now, if your kid is over, say, 14, 12, they're going to be like us and be like, oh, fuck this movie. So I'm just throwing it out there. Now, Brandon, go ahead with the spoilers. Go ahead.
Dude,
Wait a minute.
okay.
Can I jump in real quick, Brandon?
Go ahead. Dog.
Did anybody else cringe at the Black Jesus jokes?
Son, every time.
What do you want? Again, do you want to know why? You want to know why? Because, and this goes to the acting, and this is what would piss me off so much. Listen, this movie would work if you had better actors who could actually. They try to act this movie like it was a period piece, but you had actors in this movie, or I put quotes, actors who cannot act in period pieces. They are not qualified. They do not have the skill set to act that way. So when you have a dude trying to sit there and act like he is really from the 1940s, but he doesn't have the skill set to do that, it comes off as coonery. And that's the problem with this film. These actors are not good enough. Terrence Howard and Cuba
didn't have any direction, Chris. I
don't think you can direct bad. I don't think you can direct somebody that bad.
They didn't have any direction because Cuba Gooding Jr. did a horrible job of acting to me in this film, and he was in the original, and he did an awesome job.
Right. Well, again, bad directing, but there's also a point where you are limited by your actors. You are limited by what their abilities are, and if you, again, and it kind of does come back to directing. If you know that your actors do not have the skill set to do that, then you cannot direct them to do it. You tell them, listen, drop the accent. Listen, stop acting that way. You can't pull it off. We'll do it another way. So
but your job as a director is to direct them. So when you see them going in the wrong direction, you stop shooting and you go, dog, what you're doing right now is coonery. Let's tone it down. You make them do it till they get it right. That's why I say that this felt so much like a Tyler Perry movie, because I feel like they took the first shoot of everything and said, genius, let's go.
Yeah.
And George Lucas, if this was a 23-year project, you, sir,
you fucking
are
failed.
you are full of shit. This
But
is not
you know what?
project.
The sad part is, and my wife, who I also call a very intelligent woman, which is why I married her. She was like, she saw this and when we stopped out. She said George Lucas must have really wanted to do a World War II flip.
Thank you.
Because I even explained to her, I said, well, yeah, because when you really think about it, when he did the Star Wars movie, the original Star Wars movies, where did he get most of his dogfighting footage?
Yep.
From World War II.
Mm-hmm.
From World
And
War
then he
II
took the
flicks.
footage from Star Wars and he decided,
put it right in this.
You know what? And I said this to Chris and Kevin when we was walking out the theater, and we're just gonna go down the line on this shit. But on what's bad about this film, because there's just so much. The dialogue we pointed out, the directing we pointed out. How about the way the film actually looks? The film looks like it came out in 1973.
My wife said the same thing.
It looks like it came out in 1973, dog. Like the Tuskegee Airmen film on HBO looks more to date than this film does. And the example I use, if you don't get what I'm saying, everybody has seen Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes looks like a period piece from the early 1900s or the early 1900s, whatever. And I don't know what the year is for real. I'm taking it.
I think it is early 1900s because I think that for
Victorian
the last
London.
One is,
right.
Victorian London is the period you're thinking about.
It is a period piece, and it looks like a period piece, but it looks like they shot it in 2000.
High def.
With HD cameras.
This is an SD movie.
Oh my God, it's so SD.
Yeah.
Shitty
you know
display.
what? And that was the other thing. Even with the fight scenes, the planes
SD.
looked a little bit too pristine. I mean, if they had used like a little bit of sepia or some kind of color filter to kind of give it that quote unquote World War II look, like the only thing that kind of looked like World War II was when they went back and they showed like the films from the cameras and stuff. Like, okay, but what about like just taking this film period and just doing something with the tone, the overall colors and things like that? It was too bright.
How old is Saving Private Ryan?
Wait,
because that film looked more than...
Wait.
98.
Wait, I think you guys are missing
I'm
something.
about to go downstairs and go watch it now just to scrub this movie out of my head.
I think you guys are missing something. We actually had last year a period piece movie in Captain America that looked like it was in the same period. That looked like it was
in the same period.
That looked
even
what?
more sci-fi and technical than
right.
This one was.
And again, yes, this movie had a smaller budget, but still, it does not look as good as it should.
It had $58 million.
I know. I'm trying here. I'm so trying. Honestly, here's the thing. I wanted this movie to succeed so much.
Of course.
And I'm trying so hard to give it the benefit of the doubt. But it's just like it had a $58 million budget, and it looks like it could have been on HBO.
It's like
it should have been on HBO.
This is the same thing that they did when Disney went and Disney made The Princess and the Frog. It is a step under every other Disney film that has come out. It just felt like they needed to make a Disney film with a black princess in it. And that's what goes down here. They felt like they needed to make an action film with an all-black cast. But they didn't make it a good film. They just made the film. They didn't put any effort, to me, into making it something that would be a memorable project. Like a thing that's like the whole film is about them having to prove to white people that they are good fighter pilots and they deserve the job. This film does not prove to me that we need to have more black films with a $58 million budget and an all-black cast. It completely failed at doing that. Like, if this was one of their missions in the beginning, the film would have ended. Because the whites would have been like, see, we told you them niggas couldn't fly. Ha ha ha. Film credit. Let the credits roll.
You know something else that went wrong with this film? The soundtrack.
Oh, it's terrible.
I don't know if anybody else picked up on it.
Oh, no, it's terrible.
Yeah, it just didn't work.
I was annoyed the whole film.
It's terrible.
The music, because I don't know if they wanted to go in a direction of have like quote unquote period music. You know how like when you listen to the soundtrack in like other war movies, you have the orchestral choiry.
But you know what's fucked up about that though?
But they didn't know what direction they wanted to go with it. They went that direction, and then all of a sudden you heard like some I want to be Top Gun kind of music, and then you come back to the period music, and then the Top Gun. I'm like, where are we going with the music?
Same thing to
that
my
just
girl.
chalks up to its editing. I mean, it was just all over the place.
It sounded like that Radio Raheem was in this film with his classics tape deck. And what he would do is he would hide in the background. And when a scene tended to seem like it was about to get very serious, he would just turn the music up really loud, and the music was more glaring than the horrible dialogue. So what happened was the music would get turned up, and I would go, oh my God, turn that down so I can hear what the fuck they're talking about. Then I would hear what they were talking about, and I would go, man, fuck that, turn that music back up. It was so ridiculous. Like, if I don't know if y'all remember, there was a scene in the beginning between Easy and Lightning when they're in the barracks and they're talking, and it starts to get serious, and the music just comes out of nowhere, and it's very loud, and then it cuts off because they're not serious anymore. But then Easy gets upset, and he starts to get serious again, and the music comes back just glaring.
You know what? It was almost. You know what it reminds me? It reminds me of those movies where it's like the music is like a silent movie where the music is trying to tell you what's going on. And like if they just didn't talk, oh, we're serious now. Now we're being funny. Now we're being serious. Now we're being funny. It's like it was kind of like that, and you're just like
bad Family Guy joke.
Right? It's just it was terrible.
You know what I tell you to do? If you plan to see 2 movies in a week, I'm gonna tell you what not to do. Do not go see The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and then turn around and go see this. Because you will notice that David Finch is just genius with the way he uses his background music. It is fucking so official. It just adds to every scene. And with this one, the music is so annoying, you can't wait for the scene to be over so you don't have to hear the music anymore. And can we talk about the love romance interest?
Oh, that was terrible. I mean, okay, before we go into that, I was seeing somebody brought it to my attention today that some people were some women, some black women were going to boycott the film
I knew you
because there were no black women in this film. So first of all, let me tell you, okay, don't boycott this film because there are no black women in it because that's a stupid thing to do. Okay,
were
don't
there
boycott
any
this.
black men in the help?
Right. Don't boycott this film because it's bad. Don't go to see this film because it's bad. But that whole problem right there, I was like, that was bullshit. First of all, they're already overseas, so there are no black women overseas for them to talk to anyway. So it was okay there were no black women in this film. Second of all, we're about to explain the one romance that was there. It was a white girl who was an Italian. It made sense. I mean, in terms of how. In terms of the story. Now, as far as fitting into the movie, I'm going to let Brandon go ahead and go on this. I think we're all going to roast the shit out of it.
I almost choked because they were stuffing that Italian girl down my fucking throat. Like, there was no reason for that nigga to be chasing after that girl in this film. No reason at all. And the way he makes a connection with her is he flies a plane over her house. By the way, have any of y'all ever been to like an air show or anything and seen the planes when they get like low enough to look big?
Yes.
Can you ever make out with the pilot?
No, and I fucking hated that shit too. It's like,
oh my God.
Like, if you were gonna put the love interest into the story and interject it, I hate
them meet in a bar.
I hate when they try to interject love stories into movies like this, or any movie. It's like it's always forced. I mean, you can even go with Thor. They kind of try to do it there. I mean, it's understandable in that storyline, but they kind of forced it. Same thing with here. It's like the way they did it was so stupid. So they met eyes while he's flying above the ground. 2,000
happened to find her house,
and he found her house. Whereas before, in the same movie, they talk about how the colored men have to go over to the dance hall. The Italian dance hall. So wait a minute. So instead of having him meet her in the Italian dance hall where they're all supposedly going to have dancing anyway, you have them meet by saying that, well, he found her house after flying above it and could see her and she could... What the fuck, man?
It felt Star Warsy.
But you know what? Something else.
It was forced. It was forced down our throats.
It was so forced, and the worst part about it, the worst part about it was that the communication between them. She speaks Italian the whole movie, and there are never any subtitles. Okay, so the conversation is complete struggle. It's funny at first. Like, it's funny at first when he first sees her and the mom is cock blocking.
Oh yeah.
But after that, it's just like every
subtitles,
time they talk,
and that's one of the spots where they needed the subtitles. That's exactly what I was talking about.
Dog, she had no presence. She was just this white girl that was always holding on to him. And the reason she had no presence is because she took the role of a silent filmstress in a film that wasn't silent. Everybody else was talking.
She could have been.
We just couldn't understand what she was saying, so she might as well have been mute. He should have been fucking with a deaf girl.
I'm still not.
You know what? One other thing about her role, and you guys might disagree. Again, with the number of World War II flicks that I've watched, she was a little bit quote too pretty, or maybe what I'm looking for is too modern looking for her to be in this period piece. Again, this is the whole casting in which you all were talking about before. But she was just a little bit too pretty to fit in what World War II women looked like during those times.
Well, I don't want to say she was too pretty because it seemed that it seemed to be that they were in a film in an area that
wasn't hit.
Right, that people weren't messing with, and maybe it's because we had so many U.S. bases and so many U.S. Air Force stationed there that they weren't attacking this area, so they're nice, and it was a little town.
Nice little town, yeah.
Right, so it being that, I could see how she would look like. She looked like, to me, she looked fine. I want to stop with some of these films because I feel like if I go back in time, that everything is going to be very dusty looking.
That's what I'm looking for.
Kind of black and whitish. When I know in reality that it didn't look like that, it actually looked like what it looked like in Saving Private Ryan or Sherlock Holmes.
You know what it is?
It looked like it did today. They just didn't have. They had way more greenery because they didn't have technology and our boost in our economical boost in businesses and entrepreneurs shit like that. They just didn't have that in the way. They didn't have industry like that. So it was more grass and green and road and dirt and shit. And I'm cool with that. I just don't like when they sprinkle dust on the camera.
You know what? I know what it is.
Call it dirt.
Two things. First of all, they were in Italy, and so Italy was part of the war, and so you're looking at it and you're like, well, apparently there's a part of Italy that was never touched by the war. That's what it looked like. It's like, oh well, they I guess there was never a war here. You never felt like there was a war,
right?
In that setting. Two, I can't be the only one that was like, because there were no subtitles, thinking that at some point at the beginning of their meeting, that her and her mother were basically calling him all kinds of racial names, and you just didn't know.
So. That's what I thought.
Because you couldn't tell. You never knew exactly what she was saying to him. She could have been calling him all kinds of names and smiling in his face, but you would never know because there were never any subtitles to explain to you what was actually being said.
Okay,
and then they fall in love.
In one scene, she says to him, "I love you," and then in the next scene,
in perfect English,
and she says no. And I was very confused by that. I was like, well, I understand why because I'm an intelligent person, I understand that they want you to pick up on the fact that the reason she's saying no is because she realizes that he's a fighter pilot and he could die at any time. But the way she says no is just so who cares?
You know what? They had to add that in.
So meh.
I feel like they added that love scene, this love story in at the last minute because it actually has no bearing on anything. It has no bearing on the story. It has no bearing on the actual character himself. He doesn't. It's not even like the guy who we're talking about, Lightning. Right? That was his. Yeah, that was his call sign was Lightning. He was known for doing, putting himself out there and doing risky maneuvers and things like that. So falling in love with this chick had no bearing on any of it. It's not like he was like, well, I got a girl now. I'm trying to ask her to marry me, so maybe I need to cut back. No, it had nothing. You could take that entire story out of the movie, and you would still have the movie, and it would still be bad, but you would just not have that extra bad part in it. It's just like it had no bearing in it whatsoever. That was my problem with that. Like, I'm not going to complain.
Pull at heartstrings and shit.
Right.
I'm not talking about all the things that it dropped the ball on. Like, there was so many things that actually could have been touched upon with this film that they introduced to you, but they dropped the ball on it because they wanted to run with this romance bullshit. One of the major things that they dropped the ball on here was Tristan Wilde's character falling into German territory and him getting seized and put in a imprisonment camp and then him escaping and them being like, oh, he just made it back home and so did the white dude. Like, they did
yada yada yada. They yada yada yada.
It made any kind of sense at all either. It's like the whole prison camp thing. Like okay, what part did that play besides the fact that it was just to facilitate that he was the one that survived when Lightning died?
No, and that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to bring him back at the end to have this triumphant victory during this time of.
I'm no longer Junior. You gotta call me Ray Gun. Fuck you.
And you know what made it worse?
I wanted to punch that dude in the mouth.
When they did that,
that shit was just like.
When they did that with Tristan, I was like, yo. okay, this could get good because I don't know if y'all have seen this, but there's a film called Hartford's War or
No, I know what you're talking about.
Hart's
Oh my
War.
God, that brought that up tonight.
I was like, yo, this could be like Hart's War, which is a really good film with Bruce Willis, and it's about them being captured in a
But
German
Brandon,
camp.
let me tell you why I knew that wasn't going to happen. Because I already knew we had already been in this movie an hour and 45 fucking minutes. So I already knew that they weren't going to show us that bullshit. So they did it. They put us there. They set us up to having this good extra storyline. And instead of giving us that extra storyline earlier and taking out that bullshit ass romance, they show us the bullshit romance, but then cut the escape and all this other shit together.
That's the first thing they dropped the ball on. The second thing they dropped the ball on was Easy's story with him being an alcoholic before he flew the plane. They dropped the ball on that so hard because in reality, there are 2 times where he gets blamed for the death of people because he was quote unquote drinking. When in reality, those kids or the shit that happened to those people had absolutely nothing to do with him drinking. Not one bit. Like, old boy Lightning came back, was like, "You was drinking, won't you?" That's why.
Tell me you wasn't drinking.
Why Deacon crashed the plane and it caught on
Deacon
fire.
crashed
It had
the fucking
nothing to do
plane.
with him getting
that
shot
had
the
nothing
fuck
to-
up and
Right.
fuel was leaking.
that was just a stroke of bad luck.
Like, I'm sorry, but if Easy was drunk while he was doing all that shit, then fuck, man, yeah, let Easy keep drinking, because Easy apparently is a fucking ace fucking fighter pilot if he can do all that shit drunk. It's like
It would have been more poignant if he accidentally shot down one of our bombers, or if his plane crashed into another plane in his unit, or told somebody to go do some
or
dumb
somebody
shit.
died because he gave him a bad order. But that didn't even happen. Matter of fact, Lightning's death, and I know they tried to do this. What they were trying to do was to say that the reason that Easy ended up in a situation where he almost got shot up by that jet pilot was because he was drunk and went through the exact same. I feel like they shot the scene where Tristan Wilde was partly blind and couldn't see the fighter pilot behind him. The same, like 2 minutes before they shot the scene where Easy couldn't see the fighter pilot behind him either, because if you notice, they both looked around in the air like, "Where is he? I can't see him." They even used the exact same line. It was like they couldn't even edit the script and make them say something different. They both said, "Where is he? I can't see him. I can't find him." I was like, "Are you really? We about to?" So are you telling me that because he was drunk, he couldn't see the fighter pilot behind him? That's why? Is that what you're trying to say?
But wasn't he the first one to? He was drunk, but wasn't he always the first one to see the other fighter pilots like out 5 miles in front? So he was the first one to see them.
If he was so drunk, he flew awfully straight.
Right.
If he's such a fucking bad pilot, really? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, it was completely.
You know something else my wife picked up on. What happened to character progression? I mean, this is the old formula. You got these characters that have all these flaws. Somebody calls them out on their flaws. They correct their flaws. Okay? When Easy called Lightning out on his flaws, well, you got to be a better pilot. You need to shape up. You need to do this. You need to do that. When Terrence Howard's character also called him up, well, you one of the best damn pilots I have. You need to shape up. And then the next scene, he in the plane still fucking up.
He in the plane talking about, "Man, I'm about to pull off." Like, I forgot to say this.
Just chew your ass out in the last scene.
In that scene, that Terrence Howard scene with Lightning is hilarious because for years, one of the biggest running jokes with Terrence Howard is he has that whiny ass voice and he always sounds like he's about to cry. Well, in that scene, he's actually bitching Lightning out with that whiny ass voice, and Lightning starts crying. Like I was like, Terrence Howard now has the power to use his whiny ass voice to make other people cry. This is crazy.
You know what I figured out about Terrence Howard? You know what I figured out about him in this movie, yo, and I think you guys might agree. Every one of his scenes, he was basically giving a monologue, yo.
Yeah.
Of course.
Every one of his scenes, he was giving speeches.
He always had speeches like the entire movie.
Yeah, he went to the.
Every movie, every time he spoke, he had a fucking speech. It was never just Terrence Howard having a regular conversation with you. It was always him saying, he's like, "Yo, hey Terrence, can you get me some coffee? I could get you some coffee, but let's talk about what coffee really is, son. You need to go out there and
respect you enough to get coffee. Now, if your suit asks me for coffee, then I respect the suit and I'll get you some coffee." Like it was just like, and what really got on my nerves from the very beginning was the way that they talked to each
That
other.
was terrible.
Like when I was describing this to my girlfriend, it literally opened up like, boy, I can't tell you how we out here flying these planes, man. You better act like your mama ain't slapped fat back bricks on the table and serve it to you proper. I don't know what you talking about. You just an old country nigga shucking and jiving, hop diddly skeet. Man, y'all better act right now. We ain't hear these planes Boston give us and we flying them. Now, come on, let's get right. Man, you old shucky nigga. Come on, son.
Man, you gotta stop this shit. I'm gonna be talking like this for
That's
the rest of the day.
exactly what it sounds like at the very opening.
But that's so serious.
It's true,
Between
though.
that
It's
and Terrence Howard going to the Marlon Brando School for Monologues, I'm going to have nightmares about this shit.
Yo, I was just like, really? Do you like? Here's the thing, and the thing about it is, all of them were supposed to be educated men, went to colleges and things like that.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
going to be engineering,
22 years
and again, I understand that in the period that is a different way of talking. I totally get that, but again, when you have people that are not good at acting, cannot do that, you need to recognize as a director. Again, I put this, I saw a lot of reviews are putting a lot of this blame on George Lucas. And again, I think we can all agree. You definitely see George Lucas's hands in some of the editing and some of the things that happened in this movie. I think we can all agree on that. He was definitely in there. But however, I still put all of this on Anthony Hemingway because you are the director. George Lucas wasn't directing. You were. You were directing. You knew what you were working with, and you failed. And I think
people's fault. It's the director's fault, and it's the producer's fault.
Right.
It's completely. It's like 10% the actor's fault, and it's the other 90% is shared equally between the person who was in the editing room, who was head of the editing room, and the person who was head of making sure these actors did what they were supposed to do correctly in each scene. Man, this shit was just.
Charles Floyd Johnson. Charles Floyd Johnson was the executive producer.
I'm too intelligent for this.
Yeah.
And I'm you know what's gonna happen, right? Black audiences are gonna like this film.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
It's basically it's a Tyler Perry does about it all Hoth.
Right. They're gonna like this film because if you like Tyler Perry films and you like that, if you were about to argue with me on Twitter about how Neo in that film and so is Chris Brown and look, Megan Good's in it too. Then you know what? You gonna like this film because you stupid and.
Listen.
Honestly, this is Tuskegee Airmen for Dummies.
It is.
This is the remedial course. It's not even one-on-one. This is the remedial course.
Like, if you really want to get some knowledge, if you want to just see something like 2 hours on the Tuskegee Airmen, look up the HBO movie. Me personally, it's way better quality.
I can see if it's on
way better acting.
I wonder.
I found it on like Amazon for like $7, and I'm like, that was like the best $7 well spent for a DVD. Yeah,
it's just not a good film, man.
We're
not a good film, and it's gonna be a very bad disaster. Like, I'm so glad that it doesn't have. The critics are giving it a 44%.
It's not
but
bad.
I'm willing to bet that it's gonna have red tomatoes on Rotten Tomatoes tomorrow.
All day, all the whole ride home, I was just sitting there struggling, trying to justify at least giving this maybe like a 2 or 3.
Okay, so,
and I'm like, my rating kept going down and down and down. More I talked about it, more I got pissed off.
So we got our more epic than love German scales. 0 being a fuck you, 5 being go see that shit as soon as it comes out. So let's go around the table. Kev, what are you gonna get it?
Honestly, dude, I have to give this a 1. Like, I was really, like, more and more I think about it, more and more I was just disappointed with this movie. I mean, it didn't live up to the hype, and it was just it was whack. It was whack.
Brandon,
look at the HBO movie.
This is a fuck you. This is
I knew he was going to do that.
And this is a fuck you because I know. After 3 seasons on Adult Swim, that Aaron Magruder did not watch this final product and pat himself on the back. A pimp named Slipback probably slapped the shit out of him. Like, nigga, how you let them hoe you out like this? Why you let them put your name on this? Like, this, I'm sorry, dude. Like, people kept saying that it wasn't going to be good because this was Anthony Hemingway's first film. And I'm going to have to say that it's partly his fault, but there's so many other things that...
Everybody's to blame. You know what? I feel like everybody's to blame. George Lucas, Anthony Hemingway.
George Lucas the director and the producer were bad, but the fact that George Lucas's imprint is just all over this movie
Just needed
Just
a Death
all
Star.
over it. It's like Star Wars Episode 7.
No, I can't even tell you that because you want to know why? Because even with Star Wars Episode 7, I've seen somebody say that before. It's like, it still had, Episode 1 still had that epic scene with Darth Maul and, it was Obi-Wan and with Go Quinn or something like that.
Yeah.
It still had that scene. You still had that one scene where you're like, okay, the movie sucked, but that was tough. I don't even have that in this. This movie doesn't even have that.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not even saying that it's like those films. When I say it's like the Episode 7 of the shit, I'm not talking about the remakes he did. What I'm saying is that George Lucas's hand is just so blatantly on every scene of this film, especially the fighter scenes. Like, I'm sorry, man, go back and watch the first Star Wars film and look at the explosions when they shoot into like the Death Star and shit, and shit blows up, and then watch Red Tails and look at the explosions when they go up the plane. It looks exactly the same. Like, it looks like he shot Red Tails the same time he shot the first 3 Star Wars films back in the 80s or the 70s or whatever, and they just held on to these scenes until now. Tell me it didn't look like he stole clips from a PBS special for some of this shit.
No, you know what? I agree with that because it was his it was Lucasfilms that did the film and did some of the so I see that, and you know what, that didn't bother me as much. What bothered me was the fact that, one, it just wasn't good quality. And 2, it's just a bad movie. I'll deal with having reused scenes. I'll deal with that. If this was really the Battle of Hoth with black fighters, I would have been fine with that. If there's a motherfucking walker walking around in Germany at some point, and they actually had the P-51s going around and actually tripped, I would be like, well, fuck, it's not accurate, but it's still exciting. I would take that if it was that, but it's still not that. It's like, I lowered my bar enough to be like, I'll take that, and it still didn't meet that.
When I knew I was gonna get this from a fuck you, when they did that first battle and they came back and they celebrated, and every pilot did a spin and they had to show them in the fucking, like, I don't know what that's called, the little bay area of the plane or whatever, spinning around, like their face spinning around, and like, woo, 360. And then the next person would come in.
Really?
Yeah, man, we did it. Woo, 360.
Oh, did the barrel rolls? Yeah.
Yeah, man, we shot them down. Woo, 360. They did that shit literally 6 times in a row, back to back.
And that was a time when Deacon got shot down. That's what I was talking about. Deacon gets shot down, and everybody knew that Deacon was shot down and was shot up, and these motherfuckers are doing barrel rolls and celebrating. It's like
celebrating and shit.
When your motherfuckers got shot, right? It's just like.
By the way, did any of y'all notice that Deacon stayed strapped like a motherfucker in his seat?
That's why the people in front of us laughed. That's why the people in front of us laughed. Because dude, his plane crashed and he's stuck in his
joint. His
plane crashed and the whole plane split into pieces, except the part he was in. So while the plane is rolling through the grass, you can see him sitting up straight.
It was like one of them F1 crashes that you see on like NASCAR.
He had perfect posture.
Indy 500.
Mm-hmm.
He had perfect posture when that damn plane crashed. Oh, not to mention,
Geico, man.
Who saved him from the plane? Not the motherfuckers that was on the ground when the plane landed. The motherfucker that actually landed after him landed his plane, landed the bitch, got out,
yes, it was. It was easy. Easy saved him. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, like what happened to Coffee and them going?
Oh wait! He did it, and he was drunk. Remember, because he was an alcoholic, so he did it while he was drunk.
But weren't they supposed to have fire trucks on standby?
They were there. They just waited.
Hey, look, we talking about black people here, okay? You know, fire trucks is late getting out, man.
CB time. Harry, what would you give this film on a 0 to 5?
Can I play on it and get back to you?
My God.
All right, you know what? I got before I give my rating, I got to kind of go off the reservation a tiny bit. You know, another thing that kind of pissed me off. Now, as much as I don't mind going to screenings, and I mean, yeah, I know I was hella late, so I kind of knew what the consequences was. If I was lucky to get in, I'm just going to get a seat wherever. Black people, when you late for some shit, and you know your ass is late, you cannot walk up in the theater and get pissed off because your ass can't get a seat in the back.
You know the rules, yo. It's a screen. First come, first serve, yo.
Exactly. And you know, my wife said the same thing. She said, out of all the other screens we've been to, they've been better organized. We've gotten passes. I said, Gene, I'm not even going to argue with you because you're right. But hey, we were late. We just got to deal with it. But this other couple came in, reminded me of my parents. They just talked so much shit the whole time, how they hated their seats. Well, why can't we move in the back? Why we got to sit up front?
Because you showed up at 7:15 for a 7:30 movie.
At fucking 7:25. When you
Plus,
left
you're not
the house
a part of
at
the
5.
Baltimore Screening Club, so you couldn't cut in the front of the line.
Right. Now, like I said,
them
my ass was late. I'm coming all the way from fucking damn near D.C. Okay, yeah, I got to deal with the consequences. Everybody else had enough common sense to get their ass there early, get in line. Well, this was the worst way. I can't believe they can't get us another seat.
Only niggas complain about free shit. I swear, only niggas complain about free
and
shit.
I was 5 seconds off of saying to them, if you're not happy, the shit come out tomorrow.
It comes out. It comes out 2 hours later at midnight.
Yeah.
I don't usually disrespect women like this, but shout out to the bitch sitting beside me who got mad because me, Kev, and y'all was laughing at a scene that she didn't find funny. Bitch, stupid ass fucking film. I can't stand niggas, yo. I can't stand niggas. So she said, "Oh my god, yo, why are you laughing? It's not even funny." Oh my god, bitch.
This movie's terrible. It's hilarious.
Why are you talking?
Okay.
It's the only way for me to
my
make it.
score, after I've prayed on it for like a hot moment, 2. And that's being generous.
You generous, nigga.
All right, I'm going with Harry too. I'm gonna give it a 2, just because it's like I don't want to be that asshole to give it a fuck you. I really don't. I don't want to give it a fuck you. I don't want to give it a 1. But you know what? But you know what? I have a Netflix subscription. I know a lot of people do. So if I give it a 2 is a Netflix. So watch it when it comes on Netflix.
Niggas is not gonna sit and watch this on Netflix, dog. Like you got better shit to do.
I got better ways I can destroy.
Oh my
I'm
god!
gonna watch this movie again. Like,
I don't think I would
Ever.
either. Yeah.
When this shit goes on sale
I
at
will
Best
gladly
Buy,
watch
I'm gonna
one
kick the
with,
rack over.
You know what's gonna suck now though. You know what's gonna suck, especially because it's got big reviews and people are gonna go see it anyway, and it'll probably do good at the box office this weekend. We're gonna see it, and there's gonna be a big push for people to say you got to go see it because it's a black film. There's gonna be people out there saying that if it doesn't do well, this is why black people can't get nothing. I was like, well, did you ever think that maybe it's just a bad film? That it got bad reviews and people that you get again. I had issues with some of the reviews that came out the day. Like shout out to Roger Ebert. Fuck you. I hate your reviews. You're bullshit. He wrote a review about it, and his basic problem with the movie was he didn't go into anything like we did. We went into like legitimate issues we had with the movie. That's what we talked about. He spent the first part of his review was talking about how the Negroes weren't angry enough.
Really?
And then the second part of the movie, part of the problem was just going off about George Lucas. George Lucas has an imprint on this movie, definitely. He does. But George Lucas isn't the problem with this movie. He's not. The Negroes not being angry and not being, I feel like there are some people out there that wanted this film to be, I feel like with Roger Ebert, some of these white people, they want this film to make them feel guilty in order for them to enjoy it, because it can't just be a good action flick.
They wanted
it
to
can't
be the J. Edgar of Tuskegee Airmen.
Right. They want themselves to feel bad for, because if they're not
they want to
pitying,
feel bad but good about it at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we did contribute.
Yeah.
We went to
Like
see
McDonald's, we did contribute to Black History Month.
Right. They want to go to a movie that they feel pity, and they're like, oh, that's a nice story. I feel bad for them. Okay, I did my job and go off. That's what they wanted. And so, and this movie is not that. Trust me. As bad as the acting is, this is not a pity movie. You don't go. There are a couple scenes where you're just like, man, that was fucking racist. Fuck these dudes. But for the most part, it's not like you said, The Help, or something that makes you out there pitying the people. It's not a struggle film.
And
it's not. And I appreciate that
you
fact.
bring that little part up, especially with the bar fight. That was so by the numbers.
It was bullshit. It's a bullshit bar fight.
The scene where the pilot walked up on them and said, "Hey, fly boys." And they tried to make you think, like, who didn't know that he was the dude that was in one of the bomber pilots and was about to congratulate them? But the way they shot it was that he was about to be extremely racist because it was bad acting and bad dialogue.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the audience busted out laughing. Mostly because, I can't tell if they was laughing because it was so bad of a scene or because of the faces on these Negroes when they realized in this badly shot scene that this racist white dude was gonna buy them some drinks in the bar that old boy just got kicked out.
And like you said, the acting and directing of this movie was so bad that you knew it was going to happen, and that's what the problem of this film is. The problem of the film isn't that it's not serious enough. The problem with the film isn't that there were no black women in the film. It's not that it wasn't historically accurate enough. The problem with this film is it's just a bad black film. It's a bad film. Period. That is
I'm
the
making
problem
my
with this
declaration
film.
right now. I am out. I'm out. Like
Okay.
I am out of period pieces of Negro period pieces. I'm done. If the Underground Railroad comes out tomorrow, I'm not going to see it. Fuck that movie.
Tyler
Will
Perry
will you at least bootleg it? What if Tyler Perry directed it?
I'm not going to. Well, they shut down Mega Upload, so I might not even be able to bootleg it now.
I'm
not going to see it. I'm not going to see it. If Frederick Douglass comes out this year, if W.E.B. Du Bois, if a Martin Luther King film comes out, you know what? 8 years from now, when the Obama film comes out, I'm not going to see it.
What about when they reboot Malcolm X?
Not going to see it. It's a period piece.
You know what it is. You know what it is. I'm tired of the struggle. And so that's why I don't go to see some of these other black films, these serious black films and stuff like that are probably good. But you know what? The truth of the matter is, I'm tired of the struggle. I'm tired. When I go to a movie theater, I want to go to a movie theater and enjoy myself. I don't want to go to a movie theater and feel bad. I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to get angry. I want to go out there and enjoy myself. And so I was thinking with Red Tails, while I understand the struggle that was there, I was hoping they would focus more on the action and I could just enjoy an action movie. But the acting is so bad, I couldn't do that. And you're right. I'm gonna go back to what I did before. I'm gonna support black directors who just make good films.
Yep.
I'm gonna support black actors who can act. So I'm going to see Safe House because you know what? It looks like what if Alonzo Harris lived. I'm gonna go see that shit with Denzel Washington.
I'm going to see Haywire.
I'm gonna go see Haywire tomorrow. I'm paying for Haywire tomorrow. I'm not paying. So here's the thing about Red Tails. I got the screening. Oh, I'm not paying for this shit now. Oh no! Fuck no! Fuck no! I'm gonna go pay for Haywire.
NAACP tells me.
No, I'm gonna go pay for Haywire.
NAACP.
I will go support that. I will go support the white girl in Haywire. I am not going because you know what? Here's the thing, and this is what everybody knows. I had that little beef with Brian White we talked about before, but I'm not gonna go all into that. But my whole thing is, and this is what I was trying to explain to him. Listen, if your film is good, I will support you. If it is bad, I'm gonna tell you to go fuck yourself. This. Unfortunately, and it's really unfortunate because I really want. I was hoping that this would be an action flick, and that this is to me is the first good black action flick with an all black, basically all black cast, all black. I was hoping it would be that, so I could be like, yes, this is what we need, and we need more of this in Hollywood, and we'll support. But I can't even do that. I can't even go out with good conscience and tell people, go out here and support this movie so in the hope that one day we might get a good black action flick. Because the movie's too bad. I cannot with good conscience tell people to go out there and spend their hard-earned money to go watch this film because it's just not that good. It is not, and it pains me to say that because I saw the trailer when it came out last year and was like, yes, I want to see it. And I see it and I'm like, fuck it, no.
Dog, the film industry is literally the visual equivalent at this point, in my opinion, is the visual equivalent of the music industry. And by that, I mean, the bigger the budget it seems for the film, the worse the film is probably going to be. Whereas independent films are awesome. Like, they're just so good because they take so much pride in, hey man, I'm making a film for me and it's about art. It's about the art behind this, and it's the same thing with the music industry. Independent music labels seem to be putting out better music than motherfuckers with a $58 million budget. Like, you got a $58 million budget, so what? You took $58 million and couldn't spend $2 million on your actors getting acting lessons. This shit is ridiculous.
You know what? I kind of blame. You know what? I'm gonna take a page out of Rod's book. Rod said that when me and Kev went to go see Transformers, he's like, "Listen, y'all should have known better." And I'm gonna tell ourselves, I'm like, you know what? We got caught up, and you know what? This happened to me with Sucker Punch too. You know, it did. I haven't been this let down for a movie since Sucker Punch, and the reason why is because again, Transformers 3 was a letdown, but I should have known better. Sucker Punch kind of did Sucker Punch me, but I should have known. I should have seen the signs, and the first sign to me was that there weren't better actors in this movie. Think about it. Think about how many good black actors there are out there. Don Cheadle turned this down.
Smart man.
Denzel turned this down.
Another smart man.
You know? Fuck, you could, I mean, it's just like, there are so many good black actors out there you think about, and you're like, these you didn't even approach them. They didn't
went
hear
to the C-list.
George Lucas has been trying to do this movie for 20 years. You mean to tell me none of these actors, George Lucas never approached any of these actors, none of them knew about this, he was trying to do this, none of them tried to help?
Because he didn't really have this shit in the works. He didn't have a script. He didn't have anything.
Right.
Just for 23 years, He kept telling people, you know what? One day I hope I get to do me a Tuskegee Fire pilot film.
We get a director who we have all these other good black directors out there. We get a director who's never done a movie. And it's like these are all the signs I feel like we should have seen. And I feel like Rod would have been like, "Oh, see, you should have known better."
You know what? I'm glad a white man put their money up for this film.
Oh yeah. And you know what?
You know what? One last thing I want to pull out about this and I got to say it before I forget that there's something else my wife pulled out. You would have thought after all of this, with all the history that they wanted to put behind this and make it such a historical flick, why didn't anybody bother to show any pictures or anything in the end credits of the actual Tuskegee Airmen?
I didn't even think of that. I was so pissed at this film. I'm glad they didn't. The
only thing they did was
anymore, but they, it's like the last little bit of credits were okay. 63 airmen were killed. The 337 was decorated. All right, bye.
Again, looks like some old YouTube Windows making shit.
Yeah, not even like thematic for the time. It's just like, okay, they were decorated. 63 other airmen, Tuskegee airmen died. Okay, that's it, y'all. Y'all can go home now. We're done with you.
Peace. It's like the ending of Intervention.
I am. Wow. It's like I said, I'm
when
so
my wife
glad
said
I didn't.
I said that's such a good point because if you think about any other historical piece that was huge that you've ever saw, they usually give like a little bit more background, images, like actual stuff towards the end of the flick. But you know what?
They could have even listed the actors.
Fiction.
Yeah.
I'm done with niggas. I'm done with you Negroes and your films. I'm done supporting this shit. And when I say I'm done supporting it, I'm with Kriss. I will support good black actors in good films or good films by black directors. I don't care if they have an all-white cast, an all-green cast, an all-purple cast. I don't give a fuck.
Quality.
I am tired of you niggas trying to sell me on the idea.
It's a guilt trip
together for these films.
It's the guilt trip.
Because what comes from that is The Help, which isn't a bad film, but I'm tired of the struggle. There's the old age struggle film where I have to relive slavery on screen for 2 hours. I got to hear people get called nigga for 2 hours, even though if you call me a nigga today, I can punch you in the face and I ain't gonna get lynched. I gotta sit and listen to that for 2 hours. Or we get The Preciouses, where I gotta sit and watch a girl be physically be molested with some KY jelly in the first 5 minutes of the fucking film and then run away with a bucket of fried chicken. Like I'm tired of the struggle. I'm tired of the motherfucker.
I just want to enjoy a film. I want to be able to go.
He even got a black superhero film and he was an alcoholic. I'm done. I'm so tired of this shit. I don't want it anymore. I don't want a black X-Men film. I don't want a black film shot. I don't want a black gladiator film. I don't want a black Camelot film. I don't want a black space invasion film. I don't want them.
When short, don't give you a black pen to sign a paper and you was like, I don't want this shit. Give me blue.
In other words, I don't want a film that's going to pander to me for pandering's sake.
Don't try to sell me on this black. If you tell me it's got an all black cast, I'm out. if they turn The Wire into a movie, I'm not paying to go see it.
What about the 10 Commandments?
I'm not paying. If it's all black people, I'm not paying because somebody can drop one of the commandments and then lie about what it was.
You know what the problem? You know what the problem is with these movies is it's like we try too hard. And like again, with this one is you put Neo, you put all these extra motherfuckers in here who aren't good at the job because like you're trying to put everybody on. I feel like that's what it is. We try to put people on that don't need to be put on. The reason why these motherfuckers weren't in the other movies is not because Hollywood is hating on black actors, it's because these motherfuckers can't act. They cannot act, which is why they're not getting in any other fucking movies. That is why. That's the problem I had with these black movies, and this is the problem I was going off of Brian White for was, listen, I will support it if it's quality. If that means you got to cut down the list of black actors in this movie, then fucking do it. Don't sit there and don't pat yourself on the back for putting 15 black actors to work when most of them fucking suck. And then what was the name of the guy at the beginning of the movie who was actually good? Was it Leslie something?
Leslie Owen Jr.
Leslie Owen Jr., who actually did a good job at the beginning of the fucking film, disappears in the rest of the film just so you can get more shine than Neo and all these other big name motherfuckers.
As a director, you're supposed to be able to see that. You should be able to see that, oh shit, this dude Leslie Odom actually is a good fucking actor. He needs to switch scenes with
everybody else.
Anyone.
I'd almost say let him have a twin and have them both play just like fucking make him triplets and have him play 3 motherfuckers in the film because he was that believable at the beginning of the film, and I'm like, okay, cool, and then he disappeared. Like,
you know
that's
what?
horrible.
To expound on your point, Chris, one thing I'm looking at as we've been talking, I've been going down the credits for some of the guys that were in the movie. Just about everybody that had like a quote unquote major speaking part, all of them got television credits.
Yeah.
So
And
it's like when you look at Hemingway doing this movie, it's like. It's kind of like what we just said. I'm kind of repeating it, but it's the point still stands. He could have swung for the fences by getting better actors. He took a movie where you should have got some heavyweights. And I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, you got Terrence Howard and Cuba Gooding, but instead of swinging for the fences, you're just going for the ground ball because everybody else that was supporting in this movie has just enough credits just to get by, and they weren't getting by. They were just wheels turning in the mud.
And don't tell me you couldn't get better actors because you didn't have the budget for it. Because trust me, there have been black actors out there who could act who would have probably done this fucking movie for fucking pennies. Because if George Lucas came into him and said, "I've been trying to get this movie done for 20 years," Hollywood was shitting on me. If George Lucas put the black guilt trip on us like he did when he went out on that media tour, if he had done that for some of these other big name actors, they would have been like, fine, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. It'll be my pro bono work. I'll go out there, I'm gonna do it, and you don't have to pay me that much because this film needs to be made. They would have done it. You would have been able to get a good solid cast to do it, but Kriss, they didn't try to do that.
Man, it's not even that. It's not even that. I can't even agree with you on they needed to get different actors. I don't believe that was the problem. I think what they wanted to do was they wanted a light-hearted film because they're looking at this list, man. They don't have really bad actors. They just don't. They have Cuba Gooding Jr., they have Terrence Howard, they have Tristan Wilde.
And then there's everybody else.
Right. No, they have Tristan Wilde. They have the dude that was Leslie Odom Jr. They have Bubs from The Wire. They had a good set of black. I mean, you could have replaced some people. You could have replaced the Kelly dude.
Well,
how do you
go lighthearted when people getting shot up and playing?
Here's my
said, they wanted this to be a film that you would take your kids to go see and they would have fun watching it. Because I guarantee you, if they would have been more serious with this film, and I don't mean serious as in with the way they put it together, if they would have made the actors be more serious, like, look, I like how y'all, shucking and jiving in these scenes and talking like that. Neo got tobacco in his mouth. You could have kept the tobacco in Neo's mouth, but if you would have had him been a more serious person with that shit, like the dude who's in the corner playing the banjo, he done seen some shit, and he doesn't take this lightly. He could, it would have been done better. Instantly, it was too lighthearted. It was so lighthearted.
I can do it again. I can do it with the light. I can do with the lighthearted.
Man, it wasn't the actors. It was the direction.
I can do with the lighthearted and corny, but the problem is the actors they had. Again, maybe it's the actors, the skills, or it was the directors. I don't know what it was. I can't. Maybe it was directing. But
because if you look at Paula Patton in Jumping the Broom compared to Paula Patton in Mission Impossible 4,
right,
it's two completely different people.
True.
You would swear to God it wasn't Paula Patton.
True. Because
it was the direction of the film, which then again goes back to who directed Jumping the Broom, T.D. Jakes.
Right.
There you go. You got somebody who.
You gotta stop putting. I'm sorry. We just got. We need to wrap this up. We've been going on for like an hour and a half almost. But like you said, man, I think we need to stop. We need to recognize quality. We got to. I mean, to me, that's the biggest thing with this. And I'll say this about, we all know, it's not just about this being, I think the reason why we're all so angry is because we wanted this film to do so well. I mean, this is one of those films, there's that time when you're rooting for the guy, in a fight, or you're rooting for the guy in something, and he turns out to be an asshole, and you're just like, fuck, why did I root for this guy? You're a fucking asshole, fuck you. That's what this feels like. It's like, I think we all wanted this film to do well. But it's such a fucking letdown that it's just like it goes in the other category with all the other bad films that are made. Just like, why the fuck did you make this fucking film? Anyway, so I think we got to recap. I think Kev, you gave it a 1. Brandon, you gave it a 0.
I gave it a fuck you.
Yeah, I gave you a fuck you a 0.
Neo just tweeted Red Tails #1 on Fandango. Go support Black History and American history. And I put in front of that shit, hell no. Holla at me.
Welcome to my life. And Harry and myself, we gave it a 2. So I'm not gonna quickly doing math. I'm gonna say that's like a 1.5 at that. Listen, bottom line is this is a bad film. It is. I mean, I hate to say it, but it is. It's a bad film. There's nothing else to say about it. I wish it wasn't. Again, you know what? I'm telling you, if you want to go see it for yourself. Maybe you'll enjoy it. Maybe you'll see something we didn't see. Maybe you think we're being too harsh. But we saw it for free. We didn't put money up for it. And I got to be honest, man. I think, you know.
I ain't paying for this shit.
Yeah, I can't do it again. I told my girl if she hadn't come with me tonight that I would go take her again. But I think I probably would end up doing like I did with Transformer 3 and be like, I'll take you to see it, and then seeing the movie being so bad and be like, yeah, we're going to find something else. It's too bad.
Go rent Miracle at St. Anna before you go see this flick, man.
Right. There are other films out
Don't
there.
go see a Spike Lee film before you go watch this. Don't watch a Spike Lee film after you watch this. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't do that to yourself.
Or go do like Kev said and go out and buy it's on Amazon. Get the 1995, 1996 Tuskegee Airmen.
Lawrence Fishburne and Cuba Gooding Jr.
Right.
Way better.
Go watch Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it. So anyway, this is Chris from MovieTrailerReviews.net signing off with probably one of our longest audio reviews ever, but we had to, man. There was just so many things wrong with the film that we really were rooting for. But you know, hey, listen, like I said, we all had different scores on the film. I know different people have different opinions. If you really feel that you need to go out there and see it for yourself, go out there and see it for yourself and let us know. You know, come to MovieTrailerReviews.net. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit us up on Twitter. You know where we are, and let us know that hey, we're wrong. I mean, I like to hear different opinions on this, but
bullshit.
I just.
Can I go see Underworld instead, please?
I don't do that. Don't do that.
No, I agree.
I
I'd
wouldn't
rather
do
see
that.
Underworld.
No, listen. Out of all the movies, listen. Underworld comes out this weekend. Red Tails comes out this week, and Haywire. Fucking go see Haywire.
How much you want to bet that Underworld is going to be is better than this film?
I kind of hope it does now.
How much you want to bet? I'll put money on the table right now. How much you want to bet?
I kind of think it will. Yeah, I think it is too. I mean,
$5.
I'll put it
$5
there.
on it.
I'm with Brandon on this bet. So
I'm telling you that Underworld is going to be better than this film. The Underworld that's in 3D.
Underworld, Haywire, 2 other movies, then Red Tails.
Man, listen. I'm gonna put my money on Haywire. Fuck it.
I'm not betting Haywire at all. Haywire gonna be better than all of them. I'm saying that Underworld. If anybody wants to bet with me,
I don't want to take that. I don't want to take that bet, yo. I don't want to take that bet because I kind of agree.
I'm telling you, Underworld is going to be better than Red Tails, and not even a little bit better. I think it's going to be significantly better than Red Tails. That's how bad Red Tails is to me.
Oh.
Oh man.
Word to Moses.
Oh my God.
Just saying.
Yo.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Oh my God. Well, anyway, we signing off now, ball. So, oh God.
Red 5 standing by.
Simply Red standing by.
Red Fox standing by.
Use the Force.
There they go right there, boss. We gonna take on and leave them.
I fucking hate
Them
this.
Jerry's won't know what hit them when we drop these potato sacks on them. Idaho loving.
You know what? Stop. Please, just stop. Just stop.
We're out of here, y'all. Peace.
Get your act together. My life's a movie. I leave you in that act forever. My life's like a movie. My life's like a movie. My life's like a movie.